Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Galactic Reviews. This week, or this past week, something like that. At some point in time, we all watched the new Avatar movie, Way of Water, whether it was last week or this week or like 30 minutes ago. Don't look at me like that. That's not why I was late to this meeting. So, right off the bat, the first 5 minutes drew me into the movie. And then I was immediately disengaging because I realized it was a copy and paste of the first plot line. So, plot wise, I was not all that dedicated to the movie. Visual wise, again, it I think they did a great job with it. There were some parts where was a little disappointed with the visuals, just basing it off the first one and comparing it to this one. There were some parts where I was disappointed, thought they could have done better, but other than that, I think they visually hit it out of the park again. But plot wise, I still think it's almost a copy and paste, especially when you have the same villain. I can't say any more than that for a plot.
In
It
case you didn't get it, spoiler warning.
Hey, look, if you clicked on this movie, you know what you're in for. Disappointed, really disappointed with the plot and really confused on. I'm disappointed because it was almost a copy and paste, Andrew. I was expecting like a whole new villain, like
And what are you
something
confused
else,
on then,
and they
I
just.
guess?
I'm not confused. I'm disappointed and confused why they couldn't find a new villain and just
So
make a
you
clone of the original villain.
so you are confused.
I'm disappointed and I'm confused as to why they would do this. What purpose? You can just have a whole different character or something to that extent, not a clone of the same character that you've already used. I mean, I guess I can see it later on if they decide to make this character, have a comeback story, decide to be a father, be a
See,
man.
what would have been really great is if they killed off the clone this movie and then brought him back with another clone next movie,
I
but
thought
with
about
this
that,
clone's
honestly.
memories.
Honestly, if they did kill off the clone, I was half expecting them to make another one.
I don't think they would because they would be like, well, it didn't work. So
No, they're gonna make another clone. It's gonna be the same
give him
actor, but
more
they're gonna like
muscles.
more muscles, and they're gonna change his personality so he's a good guy. He's
And
like a
he's going to
sleeper
be
agent.
red.
He's gonna be a sleeper agent. So that's what he is. He's gonna be a good guy. They're gonna flip a switch, and then he's gonna be a villain and just kill everyone. That's how you make a real clone. Well, besides that, I need to give my rating for this movie.
Yeah, that'd probably be good.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what I want to rate it at.
What are you laughing
I'm the one that's got a little bit of a drinky.
Uh,
What is your rating?
6. Based on plotline, honestly, because of the plotline, it would be lower, but the visuals boosted up, so that's why it gets a 6. Otherwise, it would be like a 4. I was just utterly disappointed in the plot. Like, I can go on and on about how it's copy and paste, but I'll let someone else take control for a minute, and then I'll go back to copy and paste.
At first, like, yeah, a good 30 minutes into it, I was like, this is the same plot. But I also kind of realized that the overarching theme of these five movies are most likely going to be fighting off the humans. It's most likely going to be fighting off the humans. They had an interesting dilemma where it has been what, 12 years.
Yeah,
So
12,
you can
13
make the
years?
joke like it's been so long that they needed to remind people about what the first movie was about. I was annoyed initially when they brought back the main villains of the first one, but I grew to be like, okay, this fits.
at?
I will
Um,
say this, they gave him enough character development where you slowly become a little bit attached to him.
and it made sense to the story that they were building. And also like this is the human race. This is not only the human race, but this is also Americans. They're gonna be back. I like that the twist that this movie had, not the twist, but the different angle it took where the first movie was kind of like responsibility and what's right over duty. And this movie was what is the right choice, like family over everyone else.
Yeah.
Um, I like the different angle it took. This movie made me cry. I do not cry at a lot of things. I will get choked up or teary. This movie made me cry. As good as the graphics were for the first movie, this one was even better. The acting was good. I dragged my feet in getting to watch this movie because I do not relish the idea of going to see 3 hour long plus movies. This movie did not feel like 3 hour long to me. I was invested the entire time, be it whether it had to do with the plot or the things going on or just the visuals. I was drawn in.
I think the biggest part of the visuals I enjoyed was the way they did all the lights whenever they had a dark room and they just illuminated the characters. I thought that was probably the coolest aspect of this movie.
I mean, I really like the creativity with the water life. I think ocean documentaries are my favorite kind of documentaries. So seeing the different ocean life is really cool. And
Hmm.
seeing how they incorporated like the Navi and the water Navi and how they made that different from the forest Navi. What I really liked and appreciated was the audio mixing. I think one of the biggest things I had against the first movie was the audio mixing, where there'd be scenes where they'd be walking out of a helicopter or they'd be in like a dense forest, it'd be raining or something. There was a lot of background noise and the dialogue audio was pristine and it should not be. It should be mixed in with the background audio. It should make it seem like they're in the forest
Yeah.
or they're in the middle of stepping out of
Well,
a
you also got to
helicopter.
think they put all of their budget into visuals.
And they also might have been limited by technology. Um, it
That could have
sounded
been.
like it sounded like, and it probably was because they were dubbing over the scenes.
Yes.
This, no trace of that. It was great. I loved how they used actual diving and military breathing techniques for how to get used to swimming for long distances. Um,
Well, that is one thing I will say about these movies. They try to make them as realistic as possible in a make-believe world. I suppose you could put it.
yeah.
Um,
I liked some of the Polynesian and island Pacific kind of references that they
mhm.
had among the water Navi. Whether it be how their war cries were reminiscent of like the Haka, which was really cool to see. It didn't reference it enough to be like they pulled from it that they're doing a
Yeah.
Haka, but it referenced it just enough to be like, oh, that's where they got inspiration. I thought it was really, very good. I really liked the introduction of the children and that they made it no longer just about Jake Sully.
Yeah.
Um, because that's kind of some of the criticisms that the first movie got. Um, that it was this white savior story, and I know that
Mhm.
wasn't the point of it, but I could see how they could glean that from
Which
it. I enjoyed this movie. I think I'd give it like a 9. I can understand why. Like it is nominated for uh best picture for the Oscars, and it was also nominated for a handful of other things. I think supporting actress, I think
didn't
cinematography.
didn't she get that last in the first movie as well?
I don't know. I got some
I
fun
think she
facts and
did.
stories about this movie. This movie, as of the time of recording, just recently passed $2 billion in the box office, which is one of only 6 movies to ever do that.
Wow.
Three of which James Cameron is the director of. The first Avatar, this one, and then Titanic. The other three, um, two of which being the Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Zoe Saldana is in 4 out of those 6 movies, which is wild. Um, and the movie is still going into its 7th week in the box office, which means it's going to very quickly overtake like the 5th and 4th place, which is a very good thing because this movie needs to be at least the 4th highest grossing movie of all time to make a profit.
Yes.
Um,
Honestly, it would baffle me if it wouldn't baffle me if it comes in like the top three, if it just hits the third. I don't think it'll
um,
be second.
I mean, of course, it's wild, especially with like movie theater. the movie theater industry declining. James Cameron, it's a 5 movie series. When he sent the script for the second movie to the producer, he got like 5 pages of notes back. When he sent the script for the third movie, he got like 3 pages of notes back from the producer. When he sent the fourth movie, he got like a page of notes back about the script. And when he sent the fifth movie, he just got an email that said, "Wow." So I am looking forward to where this saga is leading, just based on that.
Now,
Uh,
with that also, you have the first movie, which is in the forest, the second one, which is in the water. Do you think there's going to be a desert
I
or
saw
like
maybe
Antarctica or
I
something?
saw I saw a video where someone's like, he's collecting all the elements. He's
Yeah,
the
that's what I was
avatar.
thinking about. Yeah.
He is the avatar. He was from the sky people, and then he was part of the forest, and now he's a water person. Well, what's next? Fire. He's gonna go to the fire Navi next.
It's
Another
just a
fun
volcano.
story I got from TikTok was that a guy who worked on the movie, his role was that he was in charge of the temperatures of the water tanks and keeping track of which actors wanted which temperatures and regulating them. Well, there's 2 actors, male and female. I don't remember which ones. I don't remember who they played because it was a long time ago that I saw the video. But they've had scenes together. One of them liked the water very cold, and one of them liked it warm, and they would not compromise on the temperature of the tanks. So a lot of the scenes that they're in, they were filmed separately because they
Which, if
would not get in the tank
honestly,
with each other to film it.
if that's the case, they made those scenes flow very well together.
I mean, of course, other than the scenes where they had to like touch each other, like hand on the arm or
Yeah,
whatever. But for, I guess, just talking scenes in the water, they would not film with each other because they wouldn't get in the other's tank.
that's interesting.
But yeah, I'd give it a solid. I was slightly biased toward this movie going into it because I did not care. I feel the same way about this series that I felt about Stranger Things, where they took too much time and they lost my interest. But this was such a good movie, and I rarely ever cry at movies, so I got to give it at least an 8.
No,
Even
I
though
get
the
it.
plot was almost a copy and paste. I don't expect the next movies to be copy and paste, at least with the villains, villain
Yeah,
specific,
because I
other than
think
the one guy.
this villain slowly feels like it's going to be just an anti-hero.
Like they're setting him up for that kind of role later on.
Yeah, I
I
can
could see that.
100% see that from him.
I could see that, especially with Spider,
Hmm.
which
Yeah,
was great. I liked how they had that kind of character in there.
that in
The combat.
Kiri,
Hmm?
Kiri, I believe that's her name.
Hmm.
Um,
Kitty.
the yeah, that one. Yeah, I also enjoyed how they had her as a character as well.
I
There's a
really hope they
lot of
explain more about
questions.
her.
Exactly. There's a lot of questions with that character. But I think they used her well enough where she could be the real Avatar.
Fair. I really liked the very last combat scene because while they were on land, they were using Krav Maga, which is what they teach the military,
Hmm.
particularly the Marines. Um, and then when they got in the water, they switched over to jujitsu, which I thought was a great eye for detail. Um,
Which another thing with the final scene, the whole time I was watching it with the boat, I forgot that he was also the director for Titanic. All I could think of was the Titanic scene. That's all I could think of. As the
that's
boat
fair.
slowly.
That's
So,
fair.
and I forgot he was the director for that. So that makes a lot of sense now.
That's right. Um, so I quite enjoyed it.
Much like you, Andrew, I had no real interest in going to watch this movie. Um, I had
I'm sorry
watched
to disappoint you. God,
I had watched the
I'll choose
first
something
one.
better next time.
I had watched the first one and didn't think and wasn't like blown away by it, but wasn't like thought it was a bad movie. I thought the plot wise it was mid the first one, and this one seemed to follow suit. Kind of what you guys had said earlier, how it kind of just copies it. The I wouldn't say cinematography. The CGI work is phenomenal, and a work of art. Honestly, it's a lot of copying the same plot. I think you do get better character development in this than you got in the first one. I don't know if that helps because of it being the kids of the guy from the first one, but I don't know exactly. But it does. I think there is better character development in this. I'm disappointed that we didn't get more character development from the older brother. So that's one thing that disappoints me. Uh,
Well, I mean, he had a really really big character development. You might say his life got turned complete 180.
which brother are you thinking I'm talking about?
You said the older brother.
Yeah, it was a real tearjerker.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in the movie. Like you never really got to see much of
No, I
him in the
know, but
movie.
I also
I
know
know
what
what you guys.
Andrew's trying to do.
I know what you guys are alluding to. I'm just trying to keep it somewhat without losing my train of thought. So stop doing that. All right. So yeah, I agree with you guys on the whole villain being a copy sort of deal. The Sigourney Weaver played the Kiri girl, and I thought it was off on a lot of places because of that. Like it sounds like an elderly woman playing a teenager in some areas. So
Well,
I did
I can
that did catch me off guard.
I can say this much for that character. It kind of fits because she tries to act, or she's personified a little bit more of it as a spiritual character. So for her to be sound older, I can
I know,
somewhat
but
understand.
I know, but
But and I also get what you're saying that
she tried to act a lot like a teenager, but she sounded like an old woman, and
I got you.
it didn't mesh, if that makes sense. And
See,
I got
see,
you.
what got me about that is they used the same actor as her mother.
yeah,
Um, which I mean, which is what you're saying, but
well,
I
I'm
both
also hoping
appreciate.
that. Okay,
So
go
what you're
ahead.
telling me is that
I
she's just a clone as well?
I
Well, that's
mean,
what I'm hoping that they don't do. I hope they don't do the same thing that they did in Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh yes.
So, and that's what
I
it
don't even
seems like.
remember.
That's what it seems like that might go. So I'm hoping that's not the case.
I
So,
hope not. I hope
I
not.
both
because that was an
appreciated it and
abomination what
also
they did.
I don't remember. Can you not? Damn. I also I appreciated and um thought it was off at times, just because at times I was like, that's not Kitty, that's her mom. That's
Yeah.
like it's too exact.
Yeah.
But at other times I thought it was cool because I was like, that's definitely her daughter. And
There's a
I
lot
like how
to
they
it.
left the
I
mystery
think
of her birth open.
yes, I think that character probably will have the most plot development
Is Kitty
going
is Kitty
forward.
Avatar Jesus?
No, it's the Avatar from the Avatar movies.
No,
She's
but
gonna
as
be
far
No,
as we
master
I
of
know,
get.
all the
there
I
is
know what
no
you're.
knowledge.
dad.
I know
Oh,
that's another thing. That's another thing. A lot of people had a problem with was like was that
I didn't put that together.
It
was the
could
whole
it could
virgin
very
with the
well
whole
be
Because
virgin.
Awa.
I
yeah,
have
they
no
hinted
idea
at that
anymore.
a lot. They hinted at
Especially
that a
with
lot.
how strong her connection was to Awa. Like,
That and
I feel like that's where they're leading it.
honestly, the one fight scene she was in was wow.
However, this is
I
gonna
hope
sound
that's not
really
the way.
bad.
I hope
How
that's not the way to go though.
however, this is gonna be really bad. Sound bad. I wished I not I wish I felt like they made a really big deal about her having quote unquote epilepsy and having a seizure. Why was there no consequence to that?
Yeah, it just happened and then they passed over it like nothing.
I didn't want to say that she should have had a seizure or I wish she had a seizure, but I feel like they made such a big deal about that. If she does it again, she might die.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the fact that she was using AWA.
Well, it wasn't. She can't connect to the world tree. She can connect to anything else and use Awa, but she can't connect to the branches from the tree.
Isn't that what she
mhm.
did? Oh, it's
No, she
not
was
what she did.
connecting. No,
You're right. You're right. Never mind.
but I do get what you're saying.
Never mind. You're right. You're right. No, it's fine then. She can connect the things, just not the world tree. And I didn't realize it wasn't the world tree.
Yeah. No, you're
So
fine. You're
back
fine.
So back to what I think about this movie. I don't know. It's a very mediocre plot. It's a little bit better than the first one, but not a whole bunch better. Um, it's a lot longer than the first one. Or how long was the first one again? Like 2 hours or something?
2 hours,
No,
40 something.
yeah, it's longer than the
It's
first one.
okay. Then both of them are really long movies. Then so
This one was 3 and 14.
I think
yeah,
this one was like 15, 20 minutes longer.
30 minutes longer from what
Half an
Andrew's
hour
saying.
longer.
30, 35, something like that.
Like,
But yeah, I think a lot of this probably it could have been shortened down. There's a lot of that stuff that could have been shortened down. I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 5.5. It's not a horrible movie, but it's not a movie I'm wanting to go see again. Or I'm thinking, well, I'll want to see again. It's more like a one and done movie.
I mean, that's how I feel about the Lord of the Rings.
I mean, have you watched those yet?
wow, the next.
I
So
haven't been able to get through them yet.
okay, well, while we're still on the topic of Avatar, um,
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
haven't. They've said that the plan is that the third movie comes out next year.
2024. Yes, sir.
The fourth one comes out in 26,
26. Yep.
and the fifth one in 28. That is their plan.
And when Disney realizes how much money they've made off of this, they're going to ask for a 6, a 7, an 8. Thank you for watching this episode of Galactic Reviews, and join us next time when we'll be watching the movie Plane. I'll see you next time on Galactic Reviews.